Hello, everybody. It is your girl, Kayla from Death Curse. And tonight we have on Oliver and Ray from the 656 Comics crew. We're going to learn all about 656 Comics and their second campaign, the Cryptidnals. The book is gorgeous. The artwork, by the way, it reminds me of a combination of Jeremy Bastian, Arthur Adams, Junjito, along with some Barry Windsor Smith. The 656 group, I want to say the number one thing I've heard is they are praised by all of their backers for not only delivering a phenomenal story during their last campaign, but having high quality products. So I present to you Oliver and Ray this evening.
How's everybody doing?
I'm muted, sorry.
It's all right.
That's all right.
Let's tweet out this link. And we'll get going. So I want you guys both to just tell me, in your opinion, what is 656 Comics?
Go ahead, Oliver. You go for it. Oh, me? I'm a little stiff. I had a procedure done earlier. I had the exorcist procedure done a little while ago, so I'm a little stiff. But 656 Comics has been around a very, very long time. I am very honored and privileged to be part of them now, because for a long time I was off on my own, and they finally decided to just assimilate me into the group, and I couldn't be happier, because I found the comic book family that I've always wanted since I was, since I was first exposed to comics, and I owe it all to these guys, because they're making my work, a reality as well, and I'm helping them out with their work. So that's what 656 Comics is to me.
And what about you, Oliver?
Yeah, I guess to me it's the way we tell stories, because we're living in the border city, which was considered one of the most dangerous ones, right? We use our city as one of the main characters, as a setting to tell our stories. So I guess that's it. It's the story, the way we tell it, and how we present the city as the backdrop, as the setting, as a character.
That makes a lot of sense. And you guys do a lot of horror type genre, I want to say.
We started out with zombies, with vigilantes, with kind of like heroes with questionable morals, right? But lately we've been trying to like branch out in different style of stories, more kid family friendly, but still with that sarcasm, that
the edge,
satire, the edge of where we're from, right? And also different art styles. We have Javier, who has this anime manga hybrid, and Dominic, my brother, with this cartoony animated style. So yeah, we're trying to like not be, how you say, typecasted as, these guys do the horror books. No, horror is our first love, but we do other stuff. We try to explore other genres, other types of stories. So yeah.
It's not even the horror aspect of it. It's like for Undead Border, the book that we just released, we just fulfilled about 2 months ago. Everybody thought it was one thing, but it turned out to be something else, and everyone was really surprised and happy with what they got. We were promoting it as a horror book, zombies on the border, this and that. All the life, I guess, that we living along the U.S. and Mexico. And then once people started reading the book, they're like, wait a minute, this isn't about zombies. This is something completely else, completely different. I mean, the vehicle is the zombie genre, but once you start reading it, you're like, wait a minute, this is something completely different, and it's entertaining, and I like it. We're trying to show like social, political, I guess lifestyles that we encounter without actually like just hitting you over the head with it. We kind of like slip it in there. You're entertained, and at the same time, you're learning something about the area that we live in, especially about Juarez.
Yeah, it's more like a Romero zombie flick. It has the social commentary, but it's like hidden deep, because you're focused more on people surviving the zombie apocalypse and the intrapersonal relationships and all that. But in the background, there's this thing. It's life on the border, the cartel wars, and the mass exodus of people escaping the war, and all those things.
One
Yeah,
of the
because
best comments. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry. No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say zombies metaphorically, like they can represent other things other than just zombies
Yeah.
or elements of anything from the horror genre. It doesn't necessarily have to be horror, you know,
Yes.
it can represent something else as a whole. So that was my comment there. But go on. I want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say one of the highest, I guess, praises, the compliment that we ever received about the Infestación universe, the Undead Border universe, was actually from George Romero himself. I had the opportunity to meet him at one of the San Diego Comic Cons, and I spoke to him at length about the work that he did, about how he had messages in his stories, and we were trying to do the same. And I pitched him the Undead Border story, and he's like, "Holy crap! Why didn't I think of that? That's fantastic. That's awesome. You guys have to do this." And I'm like, "Whoa, crap! Okay, cool, man. Thank you." So that's one of like the highest compliments we've ever received from someone that we admire so much in the genre.
And so, what are your roles in 656? So, it's not just the two of you. There are a bunch of you that work within 656. So, what is your specific role, Ray? And what is your specific role, Oliver? Sorry.
I write. I pitch ideas. I help these guys with translations, with anything that has to do with the promotion or writing of the work that we're trying to put out. We have we wear a lot of hats, so it doesn't really we don't like guess fall into one certain category. My primary thing is to write stories, but of course these guys come at me and are like, hey, what do you think about this, or how do you would translate this, or whatever comes up, or how does this look. I'm happy to put my input, and I think all of us are pretty much the same way. Like Oliver himself will explain to you right now. We consider him the editor, but he's never presented himself as that.
No, I'm just there to say what looks cool or not.
So, that's important, though. That's needed. That is definitely needed, because you have to be honest with whoever you're working with, and you can't always say like, "Hey, that's great." There needs to be someone that says, that needs some work on it, or I think you should go in a different direction. So your role is very important. Plus, you have knowledge, a lot of knowledge.
We'll get into the specifically into the Cryptidnals, because that went in a lot of planning into that. But in 656, I'm usually I illustrate too. I draw comics, I color, I letter, like Ray said, sometimes I work as an editor. I'm just telling, hey, we could work on this and that and that. Creative consultant. That was a label that somebody put me a few days ago, and I'm also booking the shows. The streams like this one, and Ray is our hype man too, because we got he likes to talk. So bring on the streams and just promote.
I know most of the streams that we've been on, these guys are like, let's do this stream. And I'm like, I don't know if I can. They're like, oh, we're not doing it. Do it then. I'm like, you guys got voices. You guys can talk too. And they're like, yeah, but you just keep talking, man. We don't know, we know when to shut up. You just keep going. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
So I found out something about you, Ray. So I knew that you wrote. I knew that you wrote, but I wanted my audience to make sure, that they know what you do from your mouth. I want you to speak your truth. I found out that you did some stuff for Gore Shriek and some stuff for Heavy Metal Magazine.
True.
When did this happen?
Heavy Metal happened in 2009, I believe. I was working with another artist. His name was Alex Regal. He actually just recently drew one of the issues for Rick Remender's Scumbag. So Alex is in the industry still, so he's getting some work right now. But back then, it was the fantasy that we're fed when we go to San Diego, right? We want to take our work out there and show it off, and someone's like, hey, I love this. Guess what? You're in comics, kid. And we're like, whoa, and that actually did happen to Alex. We went out there, we showed off his work to Kevin Eastman, and that's when Kevin owned Heavy Metal Magazine, and he saw Alex's work. And I remember very vividly, like, we kept pushing Alex, like, go up there and go talk to him. And he went up there, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I don't know if you're busy. And Kevin was eating at the time. And Alex pulled out his portfolio, and he put it on the table. And Kevin actually stopped eating, and he put down his sandwich, and he started flipping through Alex's pages. And he's like, holy crap, man. You know what? I need this. I need this in Heavy Metal. I'm going to buy these off of you. I want you to go back home and write and draw I think it was like an 8-page story or something like that. If I remember correctly, because Oliver also assisted in it.
Yeah.
And Alex was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And we're like, "Wow, kid, you're in comics. That's awesome," And then on the ride back to El Paso after San Diego, Alex looks at me and he's like, "Hey, I don't know how to write a story. Will you write it for me?" And I'm like, "Dude, what the hell, man?" He's like, "Oh yeah," because Alex is from Mississippi, so he has a really gruff accent, kind of like this, but he's very refined because he grew up in Italy. So he's a traditional artist. He works in like paints and all sorts of different mixed media. And when he talks, it's really funny because he's got that gruff accent, but at the same time, he's like, "Hey, have you guys ever had any prosciutto or whatever? It's
prosciutto.
Yeah, let me make you some sandwiches and stuff." And at the same time, we're like, "What?" So on the way back, we started hashing out this idea of what he wanted to do for heavy metal, and he let me write it for him, and then he asked Oliver to help out with it as well, and we went on heavy metal for about 2 issues, and then Alex had some other stuff that happened in his personal life, so we had to stop. As of late, I have been talking to him, and he does want to come back and start doing that particular story again. So hopefully he'll get into the crowdfunding, and we'll start doing it. But his art is very, very original. His style is very original, so I'm pretty sure that he'd find a fan base very, very quickly. And there you go.
Oh,
Dude,
awesome.
is legit one of it. Yeah, Alex Riegel, man. He's awesome, man. He's a sweet guy. He's part of my family. I consider him like a brother, and I'm hoping that he'll be like free so that we can continue that story. And as far as Gore Shriek, that's a very recent. I'm actually waiting for those books right now, but I was approached by the editor of Gore Shriek magazine, and he's like, "Hey, pitch me an idea," and I pitched him this idea. And he was like, "I love it. Let's get someone to draw it for you." He got Jason Paolos, who is an Australian artist that draws the Phantom, to draw my story, and he put it in the magazine. I think Gore Shriek should be coming out. It fulfilled, I think, last year, but it should be coming out this month, if I'm not mistaken. Like the issues are being shipped this month.
What's the pitch?
Oh, the pitch of the story for Gore Shriek was Bigfoot meets Red Dawn. That was my pitch. And he was like, "Oh, I got to see that. How does that even work?" And I pitched it to him, and I wrote the story, and he's like, "Yeah, we're doing this." And
oh, that's awesome. I know Derek Rook. He's a really nice guy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. I met him at a con, and we talk here and there. He's a super nice guy, and he's very interested in putting out quality products and giving people what they want and printing things that are unique. So that makes me happy to hear, because that's something that I get and something that I made sure I got into shops, because he was looking for people to put it into shops at one point 2 years ago when he revamped everything. It's like 2 years ago, I want to say 2019. Yeah, 2 years ago.
That's around the time. That's around the time that the editor approached me. His name is Brandon Virat. He's the editor that approached me on that, and that was about 2 years ago. And right before the pandemic hit and everything, that's when we finished up, drawing that story.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So you guys were talking about the cartel wars. So was that an inspiration for Infestation? I don't have the, because I want to pull that up, because your comics that are out of print, you have them all available as webtoons. So I want to show people what it is that they can see with your webtoons. So I want to know. I know that on a lot of your streams, everyone loves to hear your stories about working through the cartel wars. What was it like? Do you want to chat about that as I pull this up?
Yeah, actually, Bancho just arrived, but I told him if he wants to jump in the stream. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but he has more stuff to say about the cartel war. But yeah, we'll try to fill it in the gaps. But Infestación came in as just something to do. Actually, at the time, I was into the zombie craze, Resident Evil. Which movie was the last Romero movie at that time, right?
Oh, Land of the Dead, I think.
Land of the Dead, yeah.
8 days later and all that, and specifically, I bought a Resident Evil game for PS PlayStation 2, which was called Outbreak, which had the normal people of the city banding together, trying to escape, trying to survive the T-virus outbreak, right? So that's what I thought. Oh man, why this is kind of messed up? And what if we add zombies to the mix, no? And that was like kind of interesting. And the way that I tried to manage the outbreak, the virus, is by ticks. Uh, During the summer, Juarez gets infested by ticks. It's like a real real problem over here. Not lately because of COVID. COVID kind of like brushed them off, brushed them to the side. But yeah, every summer there would be news reports. Don't clean your backyards, take care of your pets, watch your kids because the ticks are coming. And I had a rescue dog that was given to me, but he was infested by ticks. We didn't knew that when we got it, but later on he started like the ticks were starting to appear on his body, so it was really nasty. So in honor of him, we decided, hey, what if this dog bit somebody and that guy who got bit turned into a zombie? So that's how the idea started, and yeah, and we thought that it's an easy story to write. No zombies, I mean whatever. No, we just could do it and publish it. Until we hired a writer. Well, we didn't hire because we didn't have money to pay for him. But he got in the crew. And he was a doctor, so we had like real medicine, real medical explanations about the virus and how it worked. So that gave us a kind of a, what's the word, Ray?
Like cred, more
cred about the zombie virus, and he ran with it, man. He ran with it, and that's where infestation started to become a thing.
The Dr. Javier, he's like phenomenal when it comes to this stuff because he went into every little nuance of how a virus would work, how it would be transmitted through a tick bite, and it made sense, which is really, really scary because what he came up with is plausible. Like it could happen. Like if this was something that did come about and the tick, the insect did get infected with it, it's possible that this could spread, to some degree. And the way he explained it to us and how he laid everything out, we were like, holy crap, man. Like, where have you been? What have you been doing? I thought you were a doctor. And he's like, yeah, I am a doctor.
And recently we found out that tick bites can rewrite your DNA and create a meat allergy. So
definitely, my sister has Lyme disease, and she got from a tick.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. When we were younger, actually, she ended up getting it's like a bullseye rash, and she lost her ability to walk for a little bit. They're scary,
Yeah. And they're tiny. I mean,
yeah.
I just get an itchy feeling whenever I talk about it. So this story, 7 days, it's kind of like a religious man realizes that God doesn't exist because who would let these monstrosities not occur during the city and all that stuff. That Pancho wrote this one and Javier helped a little bit, and Dario, the artist for the Cryptidnals, he drew this.
I was gonna say, I recognize the name. His artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's your campaign is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Dario is very, very versatile. The work that he does, the style that he does. He works in sculpture. He does murals. He does comic book art. He wears very many hats. And over here we have a word for that type of person. It's called maestro, which is like a master.
Yeah.
And whenever I see him, I'm like, ¿Cómo está el maestro? How's the master? Because honestly, like I've never met an artist that is versatile as he is. Maybe Alex comes close, but even Alex is like, wow, Dario's got it going on. So it's interesting.
Yeah, they're like neck and neck. No, those two guys.
Yeah, those guys are neck and neck, man.
Yeah. So this story is part of the infestation, the mythology, which was our first, you could say, our first graphic novel. It was a hardcover. How many pages were it? Like over 336?
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
big,
wow. That's a lot for your first graphic novel that you put out.
Yeah, we put this out during 2009, 10. Yeah, we took this. We did a mini tour with this book. We went to Ape Expo in San Francisco, and Javier took it to Angoulême, France, which was a big thing over there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so
you guys are worldwide.
Yeah. So this book is a collection. Is divided into 2 parts, which is Year Zero, which is like the first anthology we did, the short stories, at 2007, I think, when we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what kind of story to tell in Infestación. And then after that, you came in, Ray, with House Pass.
Yeah, they're like, hey, well, you want to do something with us? And I pitched them this idea, like, well, you guys have Infestación going on in Juarez. What if it spills over to the U.S.? What would happen? How would people in El Paso react to it? Because El Pasoans are, they're like their own breed of people, man. And I kind of figured how it would work. It would play out. And they were like, yeah, do it. Let's see what happens. So I pitched them the story. I wrote it out, and we managed to get 4 issues, actually 5 issues, out of that story. And it was collected as well in the second volume of Infestación.
And I set it up nicely because at the end of the part 1, there's a coyote who takes a bunch of immigrants over to cross illegally, and one of them is bitten by a dog. So and the cops come in, Border Patrol comes in, like a week later, after the incident, and they spot the van by the border highway, and they open the cargo and just zombies spill out of there, kind of like
transmission time.
Yeah,
That's
how Hell's Pass starts.
We picked up right there, like where that left off. That's where Hell's Pass picks up.
So right here, this scene here is right where Hell's Pass picks up.
Exactly.
Interesting. So is a lot of your stuff all interconnected that you've written and worked on?
More or less. Especially the Undead Border Infestation saga, because Ray has his own story and set of characters, and we do too. But we are planning on mixing having a little crossover between them. So it's I think we're building it up, for like volume 3, more or less, right? For House Pass 3, I think. Volume 3.
Yes, we're building it up so that everything comes together at the end. Kind of like a trilogy of sorts and stuff, and everybody ends up meeting, and that's the way that the story hopefully will end at that point. So let's see how that works out.
Yeah, and the third part of Infestation the Mythology deals with Dante. Dante's kind of like the messiah of the leader that will lead the people of Juarez out of the undead border, to save them, to rescue them, and all that, and the plot against it by the UN and the mini cartel that's governing the Juarez, the commune, and all that stuff, and the politics and the treachery and all that.
So you're going through basically the wire with this comic book, like you're starting at the very bottom and moving it all the way up.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy right there.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah, and all that's on Webtoons, guys. So
yeah, what is your Webtoons page? So I want to say the most interesting thing, I think it's a beautiful thing too that you do this. So all of your web comics are all comics that you had out that are now out of print.
Yes.
Correct? Let's just go over that for everyone to hear so they can understand that they can always find your stuff. What is your Webtoon platform?
Just search for 6x6 Comics. That you can get our stuff there. Not everything's up there because we
haven't uploaded it.
Yeah, we're going by stages now, because first it was Undead Border, so we upload everything pertaining that topic. Next is Cryptidnals. We don't have anything. It's all new right now. And later on, we do have like Carmesí, La Chica Esclave, which are the the anti-heroes, the vigilantes type stories.
Oh yeah,
Those
I love that kind of stuff.
those things we did publish. We got in trouble by that actually, because
You got in trouble?
we
What do you mean you got into trouble?
let's say we received a few phone calls, undesired phone calls
Okay.
by people that had real power of cancellation. So
Yeah.
like meaning like getting your head cut off and stuff like that. So yeah, actually Bancho, my brother, who is the writer of Carmisi, he did receive those phone calls, and they just told us, "Hey, cool it, guys," and we did. We stopped. You know what? Stop publishing these books. Uh, if you want to, let's do them in English and sell them out, sell them over there. And once we sell out, leave them there.
That's something that's very interesting because just to quickly touch on that, these guys were always getting on me about the fact that I live in the States and I don't know how easy I have it over here. There's like a culture war going on over here about what can be said, what can't be said, the cancellation of people. All that stuff is going on over here, and we're very, very privileged to be able to do that because these guys are trying to produce a comic book, and because of that, their lives were on the line. They're like, okay, we want to say what's going on, but at the same time, like, we're taking a risk. And that's the type of work that I wanted to do. And it seems kind of like silly now to really think about the fact that over here it's like, oh, well, I don't think She-Hulk should look like this. And, or why is Captain America a woman? When people are arguing about that, and at the same time, right across the border, I mean, I could throw a rock and hit Mexico. That's how close we are. These guys are trying to produce comics and not lose their lives at the same time. So that it really put it in perspective, and that's why it meant a lot to me when these guys were like, "Hey, you want to come write with us?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I want to do that, man. I want to make some sort of difference."
I mean, it's fun to complain and to talk about this stuff. I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's there are other stuff to do, no?
No, that's true. And I think we take for granted a lot of things that, yes, we're complaining about cancel culture and issues with censorship, but we don't have people knocking on our doors, like over there, threatening to take our lives for speaking our mind or even trying to put out something creatively because it's not agreed upon or because it's going to make someone look bad. They feel it's going to make them look bad. We don't really have life or death threats like that going on. We just have to deal with, I would say, obviously, minor complaints at the least. Exactly. We're going to have to do, someone's not going to want to talk to you, or someone basically labeling you as something that you aren't, which, we're all adults who should be able to brush it off and continue doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So
I remember one time a lot of artists during those years would go out and paint in the streets, like murals and that stuff. And they would actually be stopped by sicarios, like saying, "Hey, who gave you permission? Hey, why are you painting on this wall?" And they were telling them to end them, and right there. And I mean, people had to like talk it out, and try to like get out of there and live, and breathe for more time. But yeah, it was crazy back then, man. Right now it's pretty chill. Pretty calm, but yeah, back then it was crazy.
What's it like to work? Like, how does your work? How am I? I'm trying to think of how to word this correctly. So you guys work in all different areas. Do you find it's the technology that allows that to happen, or what is it? Because I can't imagine it's easy to work from two different countries, basically, even if it's over a border. I can't imagine it's easy.
Yeah, I got easier, but back then, yeah, we would hang out. We would like monthly meetings or bi-weekly. We would hang out. Ray would come over.
Okay.
Everybody would. We had a studio back in the day that everybody would drop by and we would get stuff done. That ended. Right now, obviously by the pandemic, right, and back then by the cartel shootings, because it's funny because we had a studio, and we had to bail because the rent went up, and we're artists, man. We don't have any money. We couldn't pay rent, So we had to one night we had to bail. Hey man, we got to get out of here before the lady brings the cops or something. No. Uh, yeah, and during that time, we used my dad's contact info for just for just to use it as an address, no, to the lady to the person that we rented from. And he received a phone call one day, and they called him. They called and asked, "What's the studio about? What is Mecenas?" That was the name of the studio. And my dad just told them, "Oh, it's an art studio. They create, they draw, they paint, and all that." And they said, "Oh, it's art. Okay," and they hung up. So we came to the conclusion that probably it was a shakedown. They were trying to get info on us so they could extort us,
Yeah.
to get money from us, and that was a thing that happened in downtown Juarez. We had the studio in downtown, and there was a lot of businesses that closed because people came and they demanded their quotas, and they would burn down stores and businesses or shoot the owner. And we got out of there just in time because we couldn't pay rent. So
Yeah, I remember that.
bullet, man. So
I got sad because I couldn't have any more tortas when I would go visit you guys. That's what really made me sad, you know. Like,
this guy thinking about food and our lives were
I want to say, is that part of the reason that you host your, like, the writing classes, that you host the drawing classes? I know that you give back to a lot of people. Yeah. You try to educate everybody. Is that part of the reason why?
It was an initiative by of the local government. They wanted to fight back with culture, not using culture. Oh, break dropped out. With knowledge, with the arts and all that. So we applied for a grant, and that's how we made our money back then. We applied for grants. We got money. We did our workshops and we published the books. That's how we did our business back then. That's why we have an extensive catalog of books, because we received grants from the government to publish. And yeah, we help a lot of the kids. A lot of these kids were really like in the bad state of mind, and we try to help. We try to teach them how to write, how to draw, how to tell a story, and it was very cathartic for them because they were expressing themselves and spilling all their guts and the comic page, the stories, and the characters they created, and all that. That's how they told their truth, through comic books, through characters they created, and all that stuff.
That must have felt so great.
Hey, Ray,
oh no, it's okay. Take your time. Take your time. I want you back here, but if you gotta get something sorted, I understand. If it's easier for you to be off camera and talk, then we can do it that way. So some internet issues are going on, which I had them earlier. So
it's been raining here for the past week, and we've been getting a lot of blackouts. So yeah,
I'll wait for Ray to come back before I get into the Cryptidnals.
Yeah, sure.
So I know your background.
Oh.
Yes, let's go into your background, because you know a lot about the business side of this industry.
I guess
I've heard. So do you want to elaborate on that before I go into some things about that?
Well, what do you want to know specifically? Because I'm a hack, guys.
So, as far as products and that kind of stuff, and
I try to give the best to people, man. We know a lot of printers over here. Our first book Infestation, it was a hardcover. I was our first hardcover. We didn't know crap about it, but we talked to printers. Hey, we want to do this. Can you help us? And sure, we got into that. And also Is Ray back again?
Ray is back.
I'm trying to come back. For some reason, I'm having some issues. I don't know what it is. And it's like freezing up. I'm gonna try to reset the phone, so I'll be right back. Just give me a few minutes here.
Sure.
But keep talking. You're doing great, Oliver. You're doing great.
You're doing awesome. Everyone's here. So I mean, how can I put it? It's important that people understand how great quality of a product can make or break you. And also having that kind of knowledge as someone that wants to get into this industry, it's important because if you aren't aware of how to create or produce products for yourself, you have to put your trust into other people. And you want to make sure that you have proper knowledge to A, not get ripped off, and B, make sure the quality is something that you want representing you as a whole.
It's funny because our first book, the very first comic we printed, we went to talk to a lot of printers locally, and it was really tough to get them to print in actual comic format. Because it's not easy printing. What is it, 6 by 10.5, more or less, the size of a comic book. Because they hated the fact that they would waste paper, because they would have to trim that excess paper and all that. So they fought on us to have it as a magazine size, like a tabloid size magazine or half a letter, because that's more practical for them. Because they'll just get a letter size page and fold it in half, or the 11 by 17 and fold it in half. That was their suggestion for us to make the comic like that. And we said, no, we need to have it like the traditional size. We need to, and it needs to have a full color cover, black and white interiors, because we couldn't afford color back then. And so it wasn't pretty cheap, man. It was like, how much was it? Like 30,000 pesos. Let me see how much is the conversion, because
I have no clue.
Yeah, no.
30,000 pesos. That sounds like a lot to me. And I mean, all of you guys know a lot about like the printing stuff, right? And the products. I mean, I know with your first campaign that was out that I missed because I wasn't on Twitter. I've only been on Twitter for about a year or so. Okay. I know everyone told me their campaign is great. Their campaign, who was on here? Brian Bufitas, he came on and he was saying like your campaign, it was filled with quality products and everything. It was a great story. I mean, he spoke very highly of you. A lot of other people have too that have been in my DMs saying, oh, so you're gonna have 656 guys on. Their last campaign was awesome. And I'm like, I missed the last campaign.
Who are these people? We don't know these people.
VIP information.
Talk to us in front of people, not in the end chat. We want to see that. We'll talk about Cryptidnals because we did interesting stuff with that campaign. But in our first comic, the exchange rate right now it's pretty high. It was really low back then, but it was. I want to say like $1,000 more or less. That's what cost us to print 500 copies. So it wasn't that cheap, but luckily we sold out in the first convention we did with that book, and but the printers then they fought us. No, we don't want to print it like that. It should be in this format because it'll save you paper, and
like you don't know how you want your product to look.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. Oh man. Thank God for printers now that know how to do comic books, right?
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. But,
So I was just going over basically like how having awareness and understanding about how products work and having the knowledge is what helps you out, in this industry. It's important because if you aren't aware how to create it or produce the product, you have to put your trust in another person's hands. Yeah. And you want to make sure that you have the proper knowledge to not get ripped off and make sure the quality is something that you want representing you as a whole.
Exactly.
So
actually,
that's what I was just talking about. So.
Ray had had the experience of printing his own book. So talk about that.
What was that like? You know,
when I was in high school, I wanted to do comics. I found out about comics through X-Men 242. The Inferno issue. That's how I found out about comics.
Chris Claremont. John Byrne. Yes, I mean that's what got me into everything myself. My dad was a big X-Men. I'm a big X-Men person. Dark Phoenix Saga is my all-time favorite comic book series. So I mean, you said the magic words to me. I'm all ears. Let's go.
But the thing is, I was so into X-Men that's all I saw until I accidentally bought a copy of this stuff right here of Faust. I found it. Yes, I found it in a swap in a flea market for 25 cents. And up to that point, all I had was Marvel in my life. I was like, Marvel this, Marvel that. And this was independent. It was Tim Vigil. It was horrible, horrible, horrible goodness. It was just beautiful nastiness, if you want to put it that way. And that's when I decided this is what I want to do. I want to do comics like this because this is not X-Men, but it is everything that I love about comics at the same time. So in high school, I found a group of like-minded people. One of them, his dad was actually a printer. And I told him, like, hey, man, and he drew. He's like, hey, I draw. And I'm like, hey, I want to write comics. Let's get together. And then we amassed like a small group of people. We wanted to do comics. And just right before we graduated high school, we managed to print our own comic book. But the thing is this, his dad was very old school. And he's like, if you're going to do comics or if you want to print, you're going to have to learn how to print. So we had the privilege of learning how to print a comic book on a machine from the very basics, buying paper, buying ink, the cut of the paper, the way that a comic book just fell together. But we didn't have internet back then, so we'd have to take a comic book and actually take it apart and dissect it and see how the pages worked and everything. And we went back to the printer, and he was like, "Are you guys ready?" I'm like, "Yes." And we literally printed 1,000 books by hand. We put them together by hand, stapled them, cut them. I remember because the machine. The most vivid memory that I have is the machine would run, but it was an older machine. And when the printer runs, nowadays it doesn't have this issue, but when the printer runs and it shoots out the pages, the ink is fresh. So the ink will stick, right?
I know all about that.
So since the machine was broken, the only way to prevent the ink from sticking to the pages was to sit over the machine with a sock full of talcum powder and be putting talcum powder on each page like that. And that's how I learned how to print a book. And it was crazy. And it was the most fulfilling experience of my young life. At the time, I was like, oh, my God, why can't we just send this away to have it printed somewhere? But once we realized what we did with our own hands, that's when I got more of an appreciation for the way that a book is made and what goes into making it. And nowadays, it's like, yeah, I got files, you send them off, you come back, you got a comic. And it's like, man, the nuances of producing that book is what helped shape me into wanting to do something of quality. And these guys as well, they know the ins and outs of how to produce something of quality.
Also formatting the spreads, no? That page 1 and page 22 go side by side, or
the turns and everything.
So that's I had to do that recently because we printed a few ash cans of our newest stuff.
Show it up. So, I'm all about it.
So this is our zombie kid. This is a book that I'm gonna work on later on. So I was there at Office Depot searching for paper, and I got this nice craft
zombie kid, the boy of the dead. Is that what that says?
El Niño de la Muerte.
El Niño de la Muerte. Yeah.
We had this nice stock, this nice great paper here, and it's even if you do copies, you have to get the best copier in the place, or else it will look crappy. So I had to pay extra to print it in color because color copies or the printer would shoot out the best black in the.
No, that is actually factual because it picks up some of the gray tones as well, and it balances it. I do a lot of print jobs at UPS, one of my day jobs. The color printer does a better job than the regular black and white printer.
Yeah, exactly. So the master copy was printed in a color printer, and we used that to make the copies, and the copies came up pristine. So that's what we used. And I did this at home. We printed a little strip, the obi strip, more kind of like a Japanese format, where they add the logo and leave just the cover.
That's
a
cool.
cover. Yeah, we're trying to do this like for our next campaign. So yeah, we did this. I printed the cover at home with our color printer. I could afford it because there was only one ink, so yeah, it was doable. And yeah, and the interior
The
was
interior looks great.
Yeah, we did the same thing, printed in color and black and white copy.
That's awesome.
And we also did this. We contacted a printer in Mexico, and next to it was a silkscreen printer. We're friends now. He's a cool guy, so we offered to make us a silkscreen printed cover.
That's gorgeous. It looks embossed even.
Yeah, it's silkscreen ink.
That's beautiful.
It's metallic paper, and he did the black ink and added like a kind of like a UV spot gloss. But this is just ink, like.
Oh wow, that's gorgeous! It looks like.
And the interiors are just black and white and gloss paper.
Glossy paper, yeah.
So yeah, we only did like 200 copies of these, and the rest have the regular cover. So yeah, we still have some of these collector's items. So yeah,
get some water, man. Get some water, Oli.
No, I'm good. So yeah, we try to do all these different techniques, all these different styles. I still love doing fanzines. I love them. I like the whole planning stage of it, like getting the paper, you're bugging Ray for the stapler because he has a big stapler, and the paper cutter and all that. So it's awesome, man.
So you guys are doing a lot. You have a lot of like hands-on involvement with everything. I think that's amazing.
I think that's what comics is about. No, if you can do it.
Well, no, some people can't do it by themselves. They're like, I just need to come up with the money to send it to a printer, or I'm just going to send it to a printer. They don't want to be educated on doing any of that things. And then guess what? There's a good percentage of those people that get screwed over because the printer takes them for more money than what it really would have costed had they done better research or had some knowledge of the business. So it's important to be educated in every area possible. Exactly.
I mean, Silver says indie punk self-printing hardcore awesome. Yeah. That's how we did it back in the day. I mean, when we started with Six Faces Comics, everything was copies, was indie, were ash cans, mini comics. We had to like scrape all our funds to just print. Back then, Kablam was the big thing, no? And we could only afford like 16 pages because honestly we were starting out, and our first books were printed to there, and until we got in contact with Lulu, and then when we started getting funds, we started like meeting printers, actual printers, not these printers in demand. So that's how we printed this stuff and Undid Border and the Third Party and all those stuff, man. So
should we take a look at Cryptidnals?
Sure.
Go for it.
Should we take a look at everything? I'm gonna go off cam for a second while I show this, just because my computer is going in and out. Like I don't know what's going on with my internet, and I don't want to lose. So I'm gonna go off camera while I share the screen because you have a video, and then we'll get into going through your whole campaign.
Sounds good.
So that's what I like to do. Go through everything.
Go deep.
Yes. All right. Give me 1 second to stop the camera and share my screen.
I'm gonna go get some water, so I'll be right back too.
Absolutely. No, I don't want you to die on my show here. I know we're Death Curse, but that would be horrible. That would be so bad.
I know. Oh man.
All right.
Did you say Cryptidnals? Yes.
It's my. I thought he was making fun of my accent because I get a wicked Massachusetts accent. So I'm always hearing everything. I pronounce everything wrong. I have nothing but the best intention. I swear. I just can't pronounce anything.
What's interesting is that right now is when you asked me, in the green room about my poetry and stuff, I started looking in the iPad if I had anything on there, and Gargle just posted that like Cryptidnals or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I just found this. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this is dated 1/11/15 when I started actually doing the research for the Cryptidnals, and it actually says, where is it right there? It says Cryptidnals.
Ah!
So there you go. He was right to an extent, I guess you could say. So I didn't even realize I had been working on it that long. I thought it was 2016, but apparently it was 2015 that I started working on this. And I kind of lost track of time, I guess, with all the research and everything that we've been doing to prepare the book to go to Indiegogo.
Give me 1 second. For some reason, I just lost your campaign.
No problem. Take your time.
I'm like, what is going on with the technical errors today? All right.
I don't know.
First, my internet, then your internet. Oliver's dying over here on Death.
Man.
Okay.
All right. And now we're good to go. So let's do this. I'll share audio. And all right. Here we go.
Ooh.
I'm just waiting for my lovely producer, the best producer in the world, to make sure this is screen sharing. There we go. All right. And there better be volume because I didn't share audio.
Oh, that happens to us a lot. It's okay.
Oh, my God. I swear. All right. Here we go.
In the dark recesses of cyberspace exists nightmare we take as fallacy, but these tales and images are cursed through the power of belief. Tulpas, sentient thought forms residing in between the abyss of life and death. Their endgame is to destroy the only reality they know, ours. Only darkness can vanquish darkness, more rapid than the radiance of light. Enter the Cryptidnals, mythical beasts of unearthly abilities whose existence has been criminalized by humanity. The first and only line of defense against the incursion of otherworldly evil. A secret war of monsters is about to begin.
Ooh, I saw that Ouija board. I'm from Salem, Mass. We don't mess with those Ouija boards, okay?
Oh,
I mean,
no.
the tourists do. We have another teaser here. I'm going to play it. I'm going through everything you got.
Okay, cool.
No problem.
All right. So you guys can chill out, have more water, whatever you need to do.
Sometimes we catch glimpses of a world we were never meant to see.
Yes, hello. I need help. I can hear it. Its eyes, they're glowing. Oh my God. What is that? Please, someone help me.
Monsters are real, waiting in the shadows to rend our flesh and devour our souls. But not all darkness is as it seems. The Cryptidnals.
I gotta say, Ray, the teaser is my favorite.
The teaser is your favorite? Hey, man.
So what is
All your
this
brother's
Man
work
Dog
is awesome.
Unleashed here?
This
So
is
this is the first
supplemental.
bonus?
Yeah.
All right. I like that you guys had two different trailers. It gives two different point of views of what's going on in this storyline.
Yeah,
So I really like that.
The teaser was for the sign up pre-campaign.
Yep.
And the trailer was it's for the campaign.
Well, they both suck you right in. It gives me
Nice.
that almost like that Tales from the Crypt feeling, the teaser trailer. At the beginning where I want to know more about what's gonna happen.
We based off more on Tales from the Dark Side. I don't know if you saw that show.
Oh yeah, yes
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah, we got the intro from that, the idea.
And you guys hit your stretch goal bonus too, which
Yes.
that's awesome.
We want to hit more.
Yeah.
I know. We're still trucking along, so we still have a few days left. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit further. We have another stretch goal for 13K. We have some mini prints because people keep asking for the mini prints, so we have that and a few other things. But if you want to go through the campaign, I mean,
Yeah, let's
right
go
ahead.
through it. Okay, so your featured perk here. All right, let me see. So your featured perk here. Let's go through it. What is it? So we have your main cover. We have a 6x9 sketch. We have cover B and cover C.
Yes.
And this is coming in like a trade paperback graphic novel format.
Yeah, it's hardbound. It's hardbound.
Or is it hardcover?
No, hardbound. No, perfect bound. Sorry.
Perfect bound. Okay.
Yes, I got confused. Yeah, it's a trade paperback, 132 plus pages.
132 plus pages. That is insane.
I know. I know.
That's insane.
Yeah, so
go big or go home, man. Go big or go home.
Yeah, our Undead Border was around 124. So.
Wow, I'm impressed because that's a lot. How long did it take you to write this? You guys to write this? Like,
I mean, off and on, I've been working on it since 2018. 2019 is when I approached Dario to actually begin work on it. And we actually, was it 2019 or 2018 that we went to Dallas? That's when we submitted to Alterna. I don't remember.
18.
Yeah, 2018. So in 2018, we had the first 6 pages, and I submitted to Alterna Comics. I submitted to Peter, and that's when Peter had some issues, and we lost the pages in transit. He never got them. So we went back to the drawing board, and that's when Oliver and I discussed what we were doing, and he was like, "No, we got to go back to the drawing board. We got to do this again because what you're pitching to me is not what I'm seeing." So we went back to the drawing board. Dario came up with his unique style to draw the book, and that's what we went with. And after that, it was just kind of smooth sailing from that. We haven't had any real issues. But yeah, we've been working on it since 2018 officially. Research I've been doing since about 2015, apparently, according to that one note that I found. But we actually began production in 2018.
wow, so a couple years in the making. So I mean, it's very well thought out, and you had a lot of time to think through this campaign. Now, your main cover here. It's $25 for just the book alone, but right now you've hit 2 of your perks, basically. Yes. So you'll get those as well when you back.
Actually, I think we hit three of our perks.
All right, yeah. So you hit 3. So I mean, just getting the main book alone, guys, you're going to end up with more than you paid into. You're going to end up with what? 3 other stories?
We have a floppy.
A floppy.
Yes. We have the supplemental floppy. We have Dario's sketchbook, the Creature Apocryphal.
That I love. I can't wait to go down to that because that was something I think is gorgeous. I mean, he is a great artist.
Oh man, thank you so much for that. Dario's very humble when it comes to that. He's always perfecting his work. So if you tell him that, he'll just say like, "Hey, thank you so much," and move on because he is really good. Yeah, he's be like, "No, there's better artists."
This cover B here, which on this side you can see cover B better here. So I mean, for $25, if you just want the book, you have 3 different options of covers to choose from, I believe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So this here is cover B. This is sick. I don't even know what kind of moth creature this. I mean, this is crazy. This is a beautiful cover. We have like a demon here. A little bit of everything. That's insane. I'm all about this. That's gorgeous cover.
This cover was drawn by Raymond Gay. Raymond Gay is an up-and-coming artist right now. He's done a lot of variant covers for Last Ronin for IDW.
I'm familiar with that.
He lives in El Paso, and I approached him with the idea to do a variant. He's like, "Hey, can I draw the Mothman?" I'm like, "Yeah, go for it. Draw the Mothman." And this might actually appeal a little bit more to you, Kayla, because this is a homage to X-Men 251.
That's what it kind of looked like to me.
Where Wolverine is crucified on the
cross,
there you go.
I love that. I mean, this is a beautiful campaign.
Thank you so much for that.
All right, and then this is cover C here. You can see it on the left-hand side, guys. So
The sexy cover.
The sexy cover.
That cover was drawn by Aurelio Mazzara. He's an Italian artist. He actually works for Marvel. He's done a few trading cards and some books for kids. And he's a good friend of mine. And I asked him to do a cover as well. And he's like, yeah, I'll do the sexy cover. He actually was the concept artist for the movie Psycho Gorman that recently came out. Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. It's Spencer, from my producer here and the leader of everything Death Curse. Spencer actually put me onto Psycho Gorman, and I freaking loved that movie. that movie was amazing. So that's interesting to know. And now looking at this cover, I mean, I can definitely see that he did some work on Psycho Gorman. From just some of the costuming here and this stuff in the background that I'm pointing to. If that makes sense, Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, when I found out that he did designs for that movie, I was like, this fits the project, man. Get him here.
I wanted to have him I wanted to have a bunch of different variant covers, and Oliver was like, only 2, and I'm like, I want 9. Like, why can Malin do 9? Why can't I do 9 too? And he's like, no.
They only did 2 or 3, I think. I don't know.
Did he? I thought it was like 9 or something.
I think 3 is a good, basically having a cover A, B, and C. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many people have more than that. Where everything successfully gets a chance to get backed.
Yeah.
There's been a few.
So then we have our double pack here, get one for yourself, give a gift to somebody else, comics are the gift that keeps on giving. That's how I like to look at it.
Exactly.
We're going to get into the whole story and everything. I'm just going through your perks as fast. I mean, or you can go with this one here. You can get the sexy girl cover with the OG cover here.
We try to keep it very simple, the perks.
Yeah.
Just the book and the sketch and the original artwork. We try to make it more, add more stretch goals, keep it stretch goal heavy, and enhance the story, enhance the experience. Not just add stretch goals, whatever.
For the sake of it,
it has to serve the purpose of the story. Yeah.
That makes sense. And when we get down to your stretch goals, I mean, I agree with what you're saying because, I mean, the Monster Handbook alone is such a great add-on. It's a great addition. So then you can get all 3 for $65.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, they have hit some of their stretch goals. So you're going to end up with more than that when you go and back this book.
I mean, if you guys buy this pack, the 65 or the 80, you're going to get more with your order. So... And you're going to help us reach all the stretch goals that are left. So think about it.
Yeah, there's 3 days left. So, I mean, let's back this book. This is a gorgeous book here.
Well, and one more thing. Once we go in demand, those extra covers are going bye-bye.
Yeah, they're going away.
Yeah, they're going away.
So then guess what? You're not going to have a choice of what cover you get.
Yeah. So you gotta act now. Kind of like those infomercials. Act now. Buy now.
All right, so you're selling original pages for $200. I think that is a very reasonable price. I mean, his work, it reminds me, like I said, it's a combination between, in my opinion, I see some influence of Art Adams in a way. I see some Barry Windsor Smith, especially if you've seen his latest monster book. I see some artwork that is reminiscent of that. Jeremy Bastian, who does Cursed Pirate Girl. He's, the detailing in this is insane. And then Junjito, who's basically the Stephen King of horror manga. I see a lot of that kind of stuff in this work. I mean, these are the detail. It's so intricate. And I love all of the cross hatching and notching in here and just what's done with and this is black and white, the interior of the book.
Yeah.
Or is
it
color?
It's black and white.
Yeah, I'm glad you kept it black and white. You know what? I'm glad you kept it black and white.
We had a huge disagreement. Oliver and I had a huge disagreement when we first started preparing the campaign because I wanted color. I was dead set. I'm like, you're not going to change my mind. There's nothing you can say or do. And then he's like, dude, the book is gonna look good in black and white. Stop it. And I'm like, no, I want color.
In my
for like a whole
opinion,
week.
you want to know my opinion? I gotta cut you
Sure.
off real quick. My opinion
go right
is
ahead.
this gives me this old school horror feel, and his artwork is so good. All of the detail in this, I feel color would take away from his art style. It would take away from it. You wouldn't be able to see all of this beautiful line work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense.
You're absolutely right, and that's what convinced me, because these guys were like, look at it, look at this. This is what we're trying to do. This is what you're trying to do. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna eat my words. You're right. Let's just. Yeah, exactly. It's because the original 6 pages that we pitched to Peter were in color. Dario had drawn them and colored them. And once we came back, Oliver was like, these look like too happy. And you're trying to do something dark and horror filled, and these look way too happy. So we're like, okay, well, there you go.
I think Oliver, I think you're a genius when it came down to that. I think that, it was great of you to stand up for what you believe in, because I know it's tough when you're working with a group of people that you all going to make your point across. It's tough. But I think that ultimately your decision and everyone choosing to go along with it was a great choice, because this is gorgeous, and the art would have been. It's like with Arthur Adams, okay? He's one of my favorites, but when I look at his work that's colored, it doesn't do the same thing for me as when his stuff's in black and white. Same thing. Jeremy Bastian, if you've never seen his artwork, look up Cursed Pirate Girl. I mean, the artwork is insane, and he chose not to color it, which I think was a smart decision, because sometimes with color, you lose all of the detail that is in great artwork, and great artwork doesn't need to be colored. It doesn't need it. So, I mean, he is your artist is phenomenal. I mean,
what actually finally won me over was the fact that it was presented to me like this, because I had been telling Dario, draw in the style of Junji Ito or draw in the style of Gustave Doré. And these guys are like, would you color Gustave Doré's stuff? Like, look at Gustave Doré. Would you color
no, you would not.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's like Junji Ito, his covers, they're in color, but his interior of his books are black and white. I see a big difference between looking at his covers than his interior work. I'm more drawn to the interior stuff than the cover of his books, to be honest. Yes. I mean, I can't imagine this being in color. But hey, in the future, if you ever wanted to do a color version of it, and yes, Poison Elves is a prime example, Death Metal Hero. I'm a big Poison Elves person, and Lucifer, all of that stuff. I mean, I really love Drew Hayes, his artwork.
Drew Hayes is awesome.
As a whole, too. He's one of my favorites.
If this would be in color, I think that he won't have to redraw it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's who knows what the future has for you guys? I mean, if you're continuing on with this series, I mean, there are so many. That's what I love about the comic book industry, is that the possibilities they're unlimited. It's limitless. There are so many different things that you can do creatively, and you can always go back, revisit whatever you want. And, if you want to do a color version, you can, in the future. But this is beautiful as it is.
I would be much more inclined in looking for paper stocks.
Yes.
Instead of coloring,
the paper stock?
Yeah, have stock, like different paper, not your normal gloss, satin, or uncoated. Like maybe more rugged, not newsprint, but something
like a Bristol.
Yeah, or more more what has more tactile feeling, more. I don't know. Yeah, more tooth. It would have to be like give you a whole nother experience instead of just color. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying. I think that's actually very interesting to do too. And you could also change up ink colors on that kind of paper as well too. You could print it in red. Yeah, that would be interesting to look at on that style of paper. Actually, this is gorgeous as is.
Actually, we did want a book in red ink back in the day. Horror anthology that we did a few years ago. It was on red ink. We would tease the public saying that it was printed in blood, kind of like the kids comics.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, they love that kind of stuff. The people, and yeah, I'll buy it.
So before I go down, I just want to say $200 for an original art page from the Cryptidnals by Dario. It's 11 by 17 on opaline board with black ink. All right. Only 3 out of 10 have been claimed. So that means that there are some left. You have your chance to get some of this original artwork. And this is freaking amazing. I mean, that page right there, that reminds me of like almost Cycle of the Werewolf, the Bernie Wrightson stuff in the Stephen King book. So,
yeah, it's true.
Dario was very influenced by Bernie Wrightson as well. Ernie Chan from Savage Sword of Conan back in the day.
Yeah.
This is stuff that he was telling us last time. Like, yeah, this is what I was looking at when I was trying to develop the style.
I can actually see that now that you said that, because I grew up in a household. Like I said, there was a lot of X-Men, but my dad was big on Conan.
Nice.
So, I've read a lot of Conan in my lifetime. So you sold out of your Cryptid Hunter, which congratulations on that. You hit all 10 out of 10.
We weren't sure about that, but yeah, we got it all.
It worked.
And that perk was really awesome because we tried some new stuff. We tried the Polaroids, which featured 12 set of Polaroids with cryptid or tulpa sightings and a cassette tape with audios chronicling the set events,
the sightings and stuff.
Yeah, the sightings. So we tried different stuff there.
We were trying to do it very immersive. So if you want to go beyond the story that you're reading, you can. But you don't have to. I mean, if you want to know more, of course, this is what's provided for you. But the cool thing is, like, once we get into the perks, you'll see we wanted everybody to have the same type of experience. So we were able to manage to think of a way to provide all of it for everyone, even if you weren't able to get the Cryptid Hunter package. Now, the Cryptid Hunter package is very, very unique in that it has a lot of extra perks. Yeah. But the perks that are provided currently on the campaign are valid as well to provide that immersion into the Cryptidnals universe.
I think that's important, because it allows everyone to escape and be involved into the universe that you guys are creating. So you had Preston do some cover art for you, and then he had his original art here, right? And that sold out. I mean, he's killing it.
Oh, yeah.
Preston's amazing. He's doing a lot of stuff. All right, now we're going to take a look through this campaign. I know that I've been scrolling through some of this stuff. So I'm going to start back up here at the top. And so here's your main cover here, okay? I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah.
And this is your second project. What was the first project that you guys had out on IGG?
Our first project was Undead Border. I have it here.
Okay. Someone brought that up in the chat. Yeah, show it off real quick.
Yeah, it was our here's a Javier cover, the artist of the book, and a Preston Acevedo variant. So yeah, this was our first campaign. We are working on the second chance campaign. So
that's awesome. So I can get a copy of it then.
Yeah, we're gonna launch this.
I missed it.
By the end of July, hopefully. So once we go in demand with this, we're gonna work on this book, and also we're gonna include the Border, which is another horror anthology we did. We took this. When was it, Ray? 2019.
Yeah, 2019. We went to Modesto.
Latino Comics Expo in Modesto, California.
Okay.
So it's an anthology about a horror anthology. Sorry, stories pertaining to the border. So it's you want to give the quick pitch, Ray?
Yeah, of course. We have the 3 stories, and some of these stories are actually intertwined with the Cryptidnals universe and also with Undead Border. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
In the book, which is sold out, by the way, but we're going to offer it again. In the book, we have 3 stories. The first story is a retelling of La Llorona, or the fable of La Llorona, and she appears in the Cryptidnals as a hero, which is something very, very new that no one's ever done before. And then the second story is called Boys Night Out, which is kind of an urban legend. about going out to Juarez from the U.S. To party, before you turn 18, because drinking over there is legal at 18. But a lot of teenagers go from here in El Paso over to Juarez to drink in high school, and they can get away with it because over there, of course, they don't check IDs and stuff. And there's an urban legend about that we wrote about, and it's in the book as well. And then the third story is the one that was very, very controversial when we presented it to people when we went to the Latino Comics Expo. It's based on kind of factual events. It's what it takes to become a man if you're a boy living in the cartel. And yeah, it was real. It's real heavy. Like once you start reading it, because I don't want to give away too much, but it's true to life actually. Like I mean, these things do happen. So
it takes a very mundane activity of a child's birthday, and we make it gruesome. So
very gruesome.
I'm in for this ride here.
So it's gonna be like a double feature, kind of like a Grindhouse double feature.
Oh, I'm even more invested in it now. He said Grindhouse, so that's the magic words there.
Awesome.
So we're going to go back to the Cryptidnals real quick here, since this is what's out right now, and we have 3 days left for everyone to back this book before they miss their chance. And I mean, at least getting the cover that they would like to choose.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, all right. So it's basically here. The tale of Cryptid Terror transcends into something never seen before. A secret war of monsters is about to begin. We're going through the covers here.
that tagline was like out of nowhere and already.
I loved it. I liked it. I had to read it, so it caught my attention instantly.
Yeah, because it's really hard to like come up with taglines or log lines to sell a project.
All right, so sorry, go ahead. No, I'm listening to you. I'm saying all right to myself, to the screen moving too fast.
So let's start with the picture. What's the Cryptidnals about?
So the story is about cryptids versus tulpas. Cryptids are the world's monsters. What we're familiar with, like Bigfoot, the man dog, the goat man, the Mothman, stuff like that. The stuff that we're familiar with. And these monsters have lived, in obscurity, or they lived hidden away from society. And every once in a while, you get, sightings of them. But mostly they stay to themselves unless humanity decides to go and invade their territory. Now, tulpas, on the other hand, are the newer monsters, the stuff that's infesting our dreams that is coming from a new, origin, which is cyberspace. We have the black-eyed kids, we have the rake, we have the smile dog, we have Jeff the Killer, and of course, the biggest, baddest of them all, the Slender Man. And I use the quotations on Slender Man because I always thought Slender Man was kind of boring because it's just some guy in a 3-piece suit sitting in the woods somewhere waiting for kids to show up. So we came up with another very similar type character who is called El Ñango, which means the lanky one or the slender one as well. And El Ñango is invading our reality. The incursion of evil is coming into a reality through cyberspace. People are believing in these monsters, and that's exactly what a tulpa is. A tulpa is a manifestation of a thought. It's a sentient thought, and it becomes flesh and bone to the point where it becomes reality, and people see them. And if you go down the YouTube rabbit hole, you'll start finding all these videos where people have seen the rake and they've seen the Slender Man and stuff like that. And we're like, where is that coming from? Where is this coming from? And this is where it's coming from. In reality, these things are real, and they're starting to affect our world. And the only ones that can prevent that from happening, the only ones that can stop this evil from coming into existence and destroying this reality are the cryptids, the original monsters, the monsters that have been with us since time immemorial. And that's where the story begins. And it's their war. It's the fight between the cryptids and the tulpas, and only one can remain victorious.
I'm just reading.
That is a great concept. And too, you get to put a lot of your culture into it as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I grew up in a neighborhood where there were probably only 4 white families in the neighborhood. Okay. So, growing up constantly, my best friend is Puerto Rican. So constantly at her house, we were threatened with El Cuco,
Oh yeah.
all the time. Like I was scared. I would be scared shitless. And then as we got older, we used to use it to freak out her niece and everything.
Yeah.
We would get her niece to behave by doing that. But no, as a child, I was scared shitless. I was like, okay, yep, 10 o'clock, all the lights gonna be off. We can't talk. We can't anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I literally, I was scared straight over there, and we were old school, so other people's parents have permission to whoop your ass.
Oh yeah.
So that's how it was when I grew up. But I gotta show my friend this book because she'll love this, and actually Ed will love this too. Because
Definitely, yeah.
Because he's El Salvadorian and Puerto Rican, and this is a lot of stuff that he's into with the monsters and everything. He's probably watching right now, but he never goes in the chat. So, Ed, if you're watching, this is another book that you want to back. I know you want to back Aerith, but you want to back this too. This is very you with the monsters, Ed. So,
and that's the thing too that we're trying to portray. Like everybody has the monster that they grew up with. Everybody's familiar with something that scared them as a kid. Like to us, living on the border was La Llorona and the Chupacabras, stuff like that. In other parts of the country was the Mothman, the Goat Man, stuff like that. And I tried as hard as I possibly could to jam pack this book with as many cryptids as I could find and as I could, that would make sense in the story. We even have a jackalope in there. We have the Dover Demon. We have the Loch Ness Monster even makes an appearance. We got kaiju. We got dinosaurs. A bunch of craziness is going on in the book. But the main point that I was trying to make with the story is that it makes sense. And, it did take me a little while. It took me a lot of research because a lot of these legends are, they're orally, shared. They don't, nobody writes this stuff down. So it took me a lot of research to find out the origins and to try and work the story in a way where it would all make sense. And I'm very, very happy with what I've written. And I'm happier even that Dario, which is this caliber of artist, decided to work on the book because he loves the concept and he loves drawing monsters. And he felt that my story needed to be told. And so I'm hoping that you guys will be satisfied, will be happy once this book comes out. We're aiming for December. So it will be out hopefully by December. Everything goes right, knock on wood. You guys will be very, very satisfied and happy with what we present at 6x6.
This perspective is amazing. I love this here because you can see the fear. And I mean, and I'm guessing they're looking out here at this monster, like your impending doom and death. I mean, what the hell do you do? What do you do in that situation? I'd be looking for a weapon. That's me personally, but I mean, this. Holy shit! What she's
on her phone. She's on her phone. She's like, okay.
The phone would be a weapon in my case. If that was the only thing that I had there, you bet.
Just turn on
smash that thing with the phone. Turn on the light.
Turn on the light.
Yeah.
Let me get a picture of a crucifix. There. How about that? Is that
holy water there?
Oh. I mean, what monster is this here? I mean, I'm curious.
The rake.
The rake.
Yeah, the rake.
So I've never heard of the rake before.
Yeah, the rake.
I've heard of every other one that you mentioned.
Oh wow! The rake is fairly new.
Yeah, new monsters, creepypasta monsters.
Oh.
So the rake is the
creepypastas
with long nails. That's why they call them the rake, because these things will rake will tear your flesh like using long nails that resemble rakes. So
that's the stuff of nightmares right there. The teeth alone.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there are videos of these things like in sewers and the woods, and they're pretty creepy. Yeah.
Once you go down the rabbit hole.
Also, Beanie told me that her cousin or something, they spot a rake out in the wild. They were outside drinking or something, or hanging out by a truck, and they spot this thing like out the woods. So they're freaked out.
These things are scary, man, because I've seen a lot of videos of them, and like, what is that? What's out there? And of course, it comes back to the story that we're trying to present. Like, why are they out there? Why are we witnessing this now more than before? And it plays out in the book itself as to why they're here and what's going on. This
is just gorgeous artwork. I mean, the story is amazing, But I'm big on, it has to be a great story and it has to have great artwork accompanying it.
Mhm.
And if the quality is good, then I'm in. I'm game. And I think that's how it should be. You know, it's like everything with this campaign, it all works together hand in hand. And I think that is important because what you guys at 656 are saying is that there is no job that's more important than another person's job. You guys all work together to put out this project to the best of your capabilities. And I think this is great. So, I mean, this is very, very Bernie Wrightson reminiscent to me. This panel over here on the left side, even this down here, this reminds me of Cycle of a Werewolf in a way.
Yes.
In a very good way, So kudos to Dario. I mean, this is beautiful.
And not a lot of people know how to draw dogs. I mean, that's something.
Yeah.
That I've seen.
He's not a werewolf. He's a dog. So
in comic books, that people don't know how to draw animals. So we're blessed that Dario. He likes his dogs, man. So
show if you can show that page. Only you know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Show that page so you can see, because these are some pages that we haven't shown a lot. And this just shows the level that Dario is at as far as presenting the book and presenting the artwork. There's, of course, that you guys are familiar with the Smile Dog, and the Smile Dog is also part of this story. And Dario drew the sequence that's in the book, in the story, with the Smile Dog. And when these guys showed me those pages, I was blown away. Even I was like, wow, he took my idea and just like, turn it up to 11, and it's nuts. So if Oli doesn't mind showing off that page.
I want him to show it off. I want you to show off everything that you possibly can, because I want people to back this book. This book is incredible. I mean,
Thank you so much for that.
A lot of gorgeous work. There's a lot of hard work and effort that is put into this campaign. I can tell there's a lot of heart and soul put into it, especially because of how you guys are speaking about it. You guys are speaking about it with such conviction and passion. Yes. And, I love that from creators. And that's something that always makes me more apt to want to back a person's book, too, because you guys are hyped up about this.
Yeah, I'm already sharing my screen if Spencer would.
Yep. He'll grab it.
Yeah, there we go. There it is.
So these are Smile Dogs right here that Dario drew for one of the sequences in the story. And it's just ghastly and nasty, but beautiful at the same time. And it just blew me away.
That is gorgeous work. I mean, that is creepy and gorgeous at the same time. Mm-hmm. There is beauty in that. And something that is like so horrific looking in an aspect. There's so much beauty in it. His lines. Mm-hmm. I'm impressed by his line. How long? I wonder, how long did it take him to do a page?
Usually a day. If it's
a day, he was banging out a page like this in a day.
It's 2 days. It's 1 or 2. Yeah, depending on the
madman. You gotta tell him I said he's a madman. I mean, I was expecting like at least 4 days with the line work like this, and just all of the tiny details and the cross hatching and everything. It's just insanely good work.
Yeah, I really dig this panel. I just love the layering of the cross hatching, because you go dark in the hand, right? Dark, and then middle, and then very light.
Yes, exactly, man. Yeah. And these are some of the newer pages that we haven't shown, but the newer stuff that we received, or that Oli has been receiving, my God, man, he just keeps just turning it up, man. And I'm like, man, this book is just, my God, it's really, really coming together in a beautiful, beautiful way. So
it's gorgeous. I'm so happy that people are seeing this page here on Death Curse. So I'm appreciative that you were willing to show it off. So I think I have to go back and share the screen with StreamYard. Give me 1 second.
Sorry about that.
Nope, it's totally okay. So,
and the newest pages, they're like a couple of double page spreads. So, oh man, it's fantastic, man. Dario, you can see that Dario loves what he's drawing, man. So,
oh yeah.
I think all of you guys are passionate about everything within this project, and I think that is amazing to see everyone work together as a unit to put out something that is going to be great quality too. I know I can expect great quality because that is the number one thing that I've heard from your first campaign was the quality of everything was phenomenal. So, kudos to you guys, because a lot of people, they'll back a book, they get their book, they get their products, but they're not impressed with the quality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's something that's very important to us. I mean, we want to deliver, the quality. We want to deliver something that you yourself are like, wow, this is great. I want to keep pulling it out. I want to keep looking at it. Even after I'm done reading it, I want to see it again. I want to keep looking at these pages because it's great, or the story because it's like really creepy and it stays with me. And that's something that I've always wanted to deliver with anything that I've written, with anything that 656 has produced, something that's long-standing. It's in it for the long run, and you want to keep, just looking at it and experiencing it.
This too, I find this panel here, this is gorgeous and horrifying at the same time. Like there's actually something, there's something very sexy about her look as well. Like she looks like she's ready to kill somebody, but she also looks like there's an aura of like sex appeal to her in this scene,
That's something very interesting that you just said, because La Llorona story, if you really break it down, and I've done a lot of research on it, and I've read and I've heard a lot of different takes on the story, and the one thing that everything seems to gloss over is the fact that this woman wanted to be with a man because of lust. There was lust there, and nobody wants to speak about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. She murdered her children.
Yes, for him. Yes,
for him, and that's something that no one ever really touches on. And I wanted to, do that with this version of her. Of course, she has a redemption story. She's trying to be a hero now because she realizes what she did was wrong. But at the same time, that doesn't change the person that she is. I mean, she still looks the way she does. And all these other, like the movie that came out, they show her like with the white gown, and she's very spectral and stuff. Yeah. And I wanted to change that up, and Dario just took with it. He took it and ran with it, and this is what came up with.
It's the hot girlfriend that everybody wants.
I think it's interesting that you took her and made her basically she's turning into a hero in an aspect. So I like that. I like that basically, she had a change because
yes, exactly.
It's very different and it's unique than all the stories about her that you hear. And I think that also goes to show too that, what you can do creatively with anything. I mean, you can take folklore or mythology and change it to however you interpret it to make it fit. And I think, exactly. That is a very interesting concept to me, because when you hear about her, you are always thinking that she is this villainess and, she's going to take the children, she's going to kill the kids, all of this stuff. You don't think of her going to be a savior of some sort. And, too, you brought up the good point, too, that everything that she did was for a man. They always leave that out. They just make it seem like she was a ruthless child killer. Yeah. So, I think that is a very interesting concept.
Yes. Right now, Pedro's having an existential crisis.
I know. Oh, let's see. I'm going to pull up.
Yeah, Pedro.
Oh man. Well, just to answer Pedro's question, kind of, sort of. When I wrote the Cryptidnals and I made the characters or tried to create the characters, I wanted to be 3-dimensional to the point where each of these characters could carry their own book, and spin off into their own thing. That's how much I went into deeply characterizing these concepts. And La Llorona could effectively go into her own spin-off book, or the Man Dog, or Quetzalcoatl, or even Kid Cthulhu. All of them could carry their own book because I wanted them to be that meaty and that much filled with a backstory.
And that's important too, to have this story, because you want to make sure that the characters are developed, and you also want to make sure the world is developed as well too. So to know that you put so much time and effort into the characterization of each of your characters, that is equally impressive. Some people are like, oh, hey, here's the main character, and they're just going to be on one journey with you for one series. But to know that you can do potential spinoffs, I mean, that makes this book an investment, because this is, if you do those spinoffs, which I'm guessing with you guys, you're probably going to, you want to know where it starts. You can do a prequel. There's so much you can do. I mean, there's a lot you can do. I mean, for all we know, her character, especially, you could have it how everyone typically knows that she is, and then she has a change of heart somewhere in it, So I'm curious to see what you'll do. This is the Black-Eyed Kids here.
Yes. I'm just wondering.
This is creepy as hell. That's creepy.
I'm just wondering what La Llorona thinks about these Black-Eyed Kids, Ray.
Oh, don't worry. That comes into play in the story as well, because they're children.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's I don't know. That's intense. I mean, some children like that are coming at me. I mean, you might have to go. Might have to take them out, because I'm a survivor. I'm going to do what it takes to survive. So if I had to take out some of these evil-looking children, then I'm going to take them out. I don't care if they're a kid or not. So
her name says it all, La Llorona. So that'll tell you what might be happening. So
I mean, possibly, for all we know, those are children previously that she has taken. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to find out. So we have the cast here. Okay. So I love that you created a little biography for everybody, and you have the classifications. I love this, because this makes me think of like a monster manual. I love that. It's so unique.
Thank you.
So if you want to go over it, the cast, we can, or we can skim through it. Whatever you would choose to do, it's your campaign, and this is Kayla Cuts Deep. So you can go as deep as you want, or keep it shallow.
No problem.
Do it.
I mean, I'll just touch on the a little bit of backstory on the characters. These are characters that have always, or cryptids rather, that have always fascinated me. The Spring-Heeled Jack, for example, that was like my top favorite cryptid of all time. And the crazy thing is, when I was doing the research, I found out that Spring-Heeled Jack was sighted in the Americas back in the 1950s and 60s in Texas and in New Mexico. So I am drawing, from real life, I guess, events, if you want to put it that way, to bring these characters, into this story. And Spring-Heeled Jack, this is the second version of Spring-Heeled Jack. The original Spring-Heeled Jack, of course, was the one that terrorized England back in the 1800s. This is his daughter. Her name is Raydron, and she's searching for her father, which is the original Spring-Heeled Jack. Without giving away too much of the story, that's what she's doing. And she's the de facto leader of the Cryptidnals.
Interesting.
And then we have the Man Dog. The Man Dog is a local legend here in El Paso. It's a cursed Texas Ranger. Back in the 1800s, there was a salt war in the area between the U.S. and Mexico. There was wealthy landowners that hired these villagers that lived right on the border between Mexico and U.S. to mine the salt flats that are about 50 miles away from El Paso. And something happened where the villagers got upset. They did an uprising, and they murdered all of the landowners. The ones that were remaining, they called upon the Texas Rangers to come in and try to quell the violence. But it's the only time in recorded U.S. history that the Texas Rangers were ever defeated in any sort of battle. The villagers rose up, they murdered all the Rangers, they hacked them up into pieces, and they threw them all in a well, except one. And that one Ranger, the shaman of the village, cursed him to forever wander the earth as a dog, never finding a home. And this is where the Man Dog came in. And the Man Dog is kind of like our Wolverine in the story, where he has these two guns, and the guns, they have bullets that can destroy anything that's supernatural or paranormal, monster, anything at all. But every time he uses a bullet, it reverts him back to human form for an hour. And if he dies as a human, he's damned for all eternity to hell, and he never gets redeemed, and finds salvation. So that's the Man Dog story.
That's deep. That is really deep. Around here we have this place, Dogtown, and there are sightings of like a man-dog creature, they say, in Dogtown. Wow. They say it's haunted. So I wonder if it's linked. I'll have to do some research and send you some articles on it. But I go up there a lot. It's supposedly ghosts. The last time I was there was a creepy doll, and someone keeps moving it. But I'll have to talk to you about that off stream, send you some stuff on it.
man.
It's very interesting.
Awesome.
It used to be a town and it was deserted. It was left to a bunch of women with wild dogs, basically. The men left for war and were killed. So, and they say that there are a wild dogs or a dog ghost and man dog people that are there that haunt the area. So
That's interesting.
I
Anything with
wonder
creepy
if
dolls-
it's connected. And
Yeah, anything
yes.
with creepy dolls, I'm down. Like
Yeah,
anything,
someone's been leaving a creepy doll there. It was I posted a video of it. I went back and it was face down. I wouldn't touch it. Then I went back a third time. What was it? Last week or 2 weeks ago with Ed, and someone faced it upright and they put it in front of. So they have these stones that are there, and someone they're called the Babson boulders. And this guy carved into them in the early 1900s or late 1800s. I can't be exact, but there's this one. It's a spiritual power. And there's this creepy freaking doll there. And someone put fans on it for wings and gems on it.
Man.
And someone keeps moving it around that area. So it's not what I expected to see when I go into an area that's a spiritual power, some possessed looking doll. I'm like, I'm not touching it. I'm not getting too close to it. You know, I don't know what kind of curse it has, but I'm going to leave it right there. But
anything like that turns into like fetishes and things of that nature. Those are there for a reason, obviously, you know, to draw energy or to draw power. I mean, we could get into that as well.
Yeah,
but
no,
I wouldn't mess
definitely.
with it.
I would not, because I'm very spiritual. So I just am like, I don't know if it's there to take away any negative energy or whatever it is. It's a conduit for something. I'm just not going to touch it. So then we have La Llorona right here. So
La Llorona. So of course, you know, La Llorona's story. She drowned her children, you know, to be with a man. The man rejected her, so she tried to drown herself. But death rejected her, and now she's been, you know, wandering the earth all this time, trying to figure out where her children are. And of course, she says, you know, mis hijos, which means my children, my children. But we give her the spin where she's actually on a redemption, I guess, arc. And she's trying to figure out exactly where it all went wrong. And this is La Llorona. She's part of the Cryptidnals as well.
And then this is such a great design. The Kid Cthulhu. That's awesome. All right. You're going to stick on this one.
Kid Cthulhu is Cthulhu, the elder god. You know, he's trapped in the body of a 7-year-old boy. And what happens when an elder god is trapped in that form? I mean, he just wants to play like on his Switch. He wants to like watch creepypastas and stuff. But at the same time, he has the power of a god. So it's a really strange dichotomy. It's interesting, you know. And we threw him in there as well. But there's more backstory to Kid Cthulhu. I don't want to give everything away, but Dario just handed in the pages where he's introduced into the story as a baby. And these guys were tripping out on him. They're like, it looks really, really cool. So
it's really cute, man. Really cute.
It's cute. Are we getting like Baby Yoda cute?
Baby Cthulhu.
Baby Cthulhu.
And then El Ñango, of course, you know, he's our version, our iteration of the Slender Man, but he actually does have a purpose. He's here to sow the seeds of madness. Something is going on, and he, or it rather, is part of it. And without giving away too much, you know, it is very Cthulhu-ish. It's very Lovecraftian, what's going on with El Ñango. So he's the big bad of the book.
And then we have the Rake that I didn't hear about until today. I can't believe I've never heard about this before.
Yeah, so, the Rake is a very interesting and new monster, even though it's been around for a very long time.
I mean, I'm glad I never heard about it as a child. That would have scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, this thing is bad. Like, you know, the stories that I've read, the stuff that I've found out about this thing, it's really, really bad. But we do actually give him sort of an origin as to what he is or what it is and where it comes from. And it's interesting because it ties directly into another cryptid who's very, very famous. I don't want to give away who he is, of course, or who it is, but it's a cryptid that everybody knows. We'll just leave it at that.
Then we have these creepy children. Okay, that I'm not about them. I love children. You know what I'm saying? Like I work with kids, but luckily I do not work with any children that look like this, or you know, that would be the stuff of nightmares. I wouldn't even be able to do my job. So
yeah, the black-eyed kids. They're the way that I see them. It's the modern Nosferatu. These are kids that always appear and they want to come into your house. They always ask for permission. So right away, those are ideas that are derivative of the Nosferatu vampire, where it wants to come into your house, but it has to have permission to come in and destroy your life. But the Nyango is using these black-eyed kids. He's amassing an army of them for some reason, and that's why there's so many of them in that one panel that we showed, and throughout the book as well. So,
I think I know what's going to end up happening, but I got to read to find out. I think I have a great idea of something that may happen, but like I said, I got to read it to find out, and so does everyone else, because everything is just speculation until we get this book and we read it. So
exactly.
Back at everyone. All right, so back of rewards here, which you've unlocked some of these stretch goals. So you've unlocked the Man Dog Unleashed, correct?
Yes, and the creature wonderful, which is
this is beautiful. This I'm excited for.
Yeah, it's gonna be 24 pages of behind the scenes artwork of Darío, character concepts. We're thinking about adding the alternate pitch in this book. So
the original 6 pages.
Yeah, Darío has the original pages. We might add those, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I love this idea of the scrapbook here with the Polaroid illustrations.
Yeah, that's the one we were talking about earlier with the MP3. So it's gonna have a code for you to download the MP3, and it's gonna play off of the whole coast to coast AM type of radio like broadcast where you're listening to a testimonial about somebody that's witnessed something, and the picture is going to back that up. It's gonna serve that purpose of like, what am I looking at? Well, this is how that picture came to be, and it's going to tell you a little bit of a story of that cryptid or tulpa.
And then we have add-ons for your campaign. So the only add-on is this the only add-on that you have?
Yeah, the
6x9 sketch.
Exactly, it's the 6x9.
Kid Cthulhu.
Yes, it's
going to be a different sketch. It just depends on what Darío wants to draw, but it's either going to be a cryptid or a tulpa, not necessarily a Kid Cthulhu, but another cryptid or whatever he feels like drawing if you get this add-on.
Stretch goals. Which, I mean, are you... let me see. So, there's a back of rewards there, which you're doing rewards and stretch goals. So, you're actually you're really close to this. So, let's get you another 1,000 here.
Yeah.
Hopefully
3 days to do it, everybody. Because
hopefully right now during the stream.
So let's go over these stretch goals, the possibilities. I mean, because who knows what can happen? It's 3 days. All right.
So it's a 2-sided 6x9 print of the cover A and cover B. It's 6x9. It's a small print. We tried to make it bigger, but we're not savvy enough how to fold them or roll them up or whatever. So we're gonna offer them as a 6x9 print, much easier.
I think a 6x9 is fine.
Yeah.
You run out of room at some point.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm out of room.
Exactly. And we don't want to like add more to the shipping charge and all that. So
yeah,
so they will go directly inside your order. No more additional shipping. And for 15K, we're gonna offer the next set of prints with the cover C and the Manda cover by Preston Acevedo. Yes. And for 20K, we're not there yet, so we don't know what we're gonna offer. Maybe another print, another something. Well, Alex, right? Alex is working on something, right, Ray?
Yes, Alex was working on something last I talked to him. I gotta check up on him because I know he had some other commissions to complete first. But hopefully he can have it completed before we shut it all down. So, but we'll find out. I'll find out tonight and see what's going on.
Yeah, call his ass.
All right, and then the team here. So Ray, you wrote. Darío did the arts. Oliver, you did the lettering.
Yes, I'm gonna letter this.
Yeah, so that's impressive. Lettering is an art skill on its own. And you did a lot of the designs for this. So then we have the logo design. The trailer was done by Dominique.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys can be found on Twitter at 656 Comics. So then each of you have your own page as well, but that's your main page, I'm assuming, just for 656 as a group in general. And then you're on YouTube. You guys stream and have your own show as well. When does that air?
We stream every Wednesday. Well, we try to every Wednesday and Sunday nights.
That's awesome. Yeah, you had Keith Gleason on this week, correct?
Yeah, we were on the show yesterday, and it was awesome. It was really cool.
Oh, you were on his show? I was like, I didn't know which I can't keep track. There's so many streams going
there's so
on.
many shows now. I know.
So I'm just gonna play the trailer real quick again before we have closeout, or do you want me to? Which trailer do you want me to play? Do you want me to do the teaser trailer or the regular trailer?
Oliver likes the teaser.
I like the teaser too. It's very intriguing. All right, so here we go.
The veil between realities is thin. Sometimes we catch glimpses of a world.
Can you guys hear the audio?
Yes, we can.
Okay, on my side you can't. It's odd. So
we were never meant to see.
Yes, hello. I need help. I can hear it. Its eyes, they're glowing. Oh my god. What is that? Please, someone help me!
Monsters are real, waiting in the shadows to rend our flesh and devour our souls. But not all darkness is as it seems. The Cryptidnals.
Do you want to mention the other stretch goal, Ray, or want to keep quiet now?
So Gargoyle is a big fan of ours, and he mentioned the other day that if we got to 15K, if I would do something crazy. When we first started the campaign, I said if we were funded in the first day, I would do a cartwheel. You know, I would go and do a cartwheel, and it happened in like 3 hours. We were funded, so I had to go and do a cartwheel, and I had anticipated that, so I had already previously recorded myself attempting to do a cartwheel, but you know, I'm a big guy, and it didn't work out as how I thought it would. But then Gargoyle was like, "Hey, for 15K, why don't you dress up like the Kool-Aid Man and run through a wall?"
Do we get Polaroids?
Yeah, it'll be recorded. It'll have.
Do we get Polaroids too?
And, a good friend of mine, he's a carpenter, and he's like, "I'll build you the wall if you want." And I'm like, "Oh crap! Okay, this is becoming a reality. Okay, whatever. Let's do it." So if we reach 15K, I'll run through a wall as the Kool-Aid Man, and Serena's here to attest to that.
You have to paint the logo on the wall. Cryptidnals.
Yeah, so put the logo on the wall.
Polaroids. Polaroids. You're gonna do Polaroids too.
I'll be like, "Oh yeah!"
I love it. Does anyone in the chat have any questions or any compliments before I close out this segment? Because we're gonna close out with something special. Because I heard from a little birdie that Ray's first love was poetry, and he did slam poetry.
Here we go.
So I just want to give anyone the opportunity before we get into that and close out, you know, to have any questions. So real quick, guys, why should everyone back Cryptidnals? From each of you. I want to know, what is your reason for having this book being backed and hitting that next stretch goal?
You're right.
You always make me go first. Go ahead. I already know what I'm going to say, so you go ahead.
Because this book is badass. That's why. It has cool monsters. It has La Llorona. It has Man-Dog. Local legends that you can't see anywhere else. It has cool artwork by Dario Rodriguez. It's made with love, with passion. It's all about story, guys, in the artwork. We're not preaching. There's no woke agenda. It's just comics. It's just monsters doing monster shit. So, back it, man.
Oh, Ed.
Oh no, dude, the chupacabras.
Yeah.
Yes.
There will be. It's gonna be cool. Yeah.
Let me put it this way. There's a goat man in the book. So who's the natural enemy for a goat man? Thank you very much. It's chupacabras.
That's my Ed. So, yes.
I just want to say, back to Cryptidnals, we've been working on this for a while. It's a passion project. We really, really want to produce this book, and we are going to produce it. If you don't back this, I didn't read that part. What did Pedro have to say?
Oh my God.
If you don't back this book, the cucuy te va a chumbar el ombligo.
It's true. That's what the cucuy does. So.
But frightening at the same time.
Yes, exactly. I'm all like, are we taking shots out of belly buttons? What's going on there, Pedro? I don't know. Only woke agenda staying the hell up after reading this book.
He's gonna come for you. This is something I guess you can scare children with too, and be like, "See, look, I'm telling you, this exists. This is real. This is documented."
Yeah,
especially when you got those tapes too.
Yes,
your kids being mad, play that tape. Go ahead, Ray. What's your reason?
They're gonna look at you like, "What's a tape recorder? What is that?" Because they're actually cassette tapes, but.
Oh, really? They're actual cassette tapes?
Yes.
In
an MP3.
In the Cryptid Hunter package, the one that we sold out of, it actually had cassette tapes in it.
Okay.
And a pencil to rewind the cassette as well.
Oh my God. Oh shoot.
But those MP3s are gonna have the same thing that is on the cassettes, except you don't get the cool collectability of a cassette tape. And it does have original art and stuff like that. But still, the MP3 still does the job that the cassette tape does. So it'll be included in the perks as well. But the reason you should back it is because there's nothing else like this out there. Even the big two, the big three, they haven't been able to produce something this original in a very long time. Everything is rehashes, everything is reboots, or shoehorning characters and ethnicities and races and all this other crazy stuff in different stuff in different iconic characters. And we're building a world that is as iconic and can be as popular as all that stuff that is in the mainstream. But the cool thing about it is that it's indie. We're indie. We've been indie, and we're going to stay indie as long as we possibly can, till the end of our lives, because that's the way to go in order to produce the kind of book that we want to see and that we know other people want to see as well.
And that's going to make your customers happy, because you know what the thing about indie books is that I love is that it's made for your customer base and your fan base, and it's made for the people, and I love that about indies, whereas everything else, it is made with a different agenda. It's unfortunate what the mainstream industry has become, but thank God for indies like your creation. They're here to save the comics industry because it needs savings. It needs this. All right, Ray. So like I said, that little birdie told me that poetry was your first love and that you were a mean slam poet. So let's take it out. Spencer, do you want to put Ray on the big screen so he can close out the show?
All right. So this is a very old poem. I did manage to find it. And like I said, I was a slam poet for a very long time. I may be a little rusty, so just bear with me. And Serena is here to be my audience. So you're gonna cheer for me, right? Yes? Okay, cool. Awesome. So this is a love poem, and it's called Testosterone in B minor. And it goes like this. I'm not built for this love shit. I need raunchy ass hookers and houses to crash when I get too drunk and trip over the carpet while trying to reach the bathroom before I throw up all over my hands. I need a pistol in my pants so I can hold up the corner liquor store for a cheap thrill, wearing a werewolf mask and chanting, I sucked Christ's cock and ate his heart, as pigs with pistols in their pockets surround me to reenact my howling Butch Cassidy to a standoffish senorita who catches me dead bang in the eyes, running my hands up and down her thighs, pulling pink panties painfully aside as she pouts and sighs, while the next morning I'm trying to figure out why she has a hairy lip. I need drugs with cool names like crack and smack and acid and blow, speed and X, some hash, tie-dyed syrup for coating, fevered, fevering, failing, fault. Fuck! I need some crack. I need a filthy whore a night to suck it right and a clean pair of boxers after I've cummed all over her back and set the bitch on fire. I need money in my pocket to buy a pretty young thing a Mickey drink at the end of the bar. The one that spouts poetry and smells like strawberries and has the really nice tit for tat drone in her moan whenever the beat that pounds incessantly envelops her senses. I need to be beat I want not a wannabe beatboxing badass blabbering bullshit about believes they don't believe, but beat, baby, beat. Round, baby, round, not square. I want to howl as I taste the blood of all those bastards that choose words anyone can anticipate and manipulate. Why don't you masturbate to true benefic beauty? Beatnik frenzy, beatnik cool. I need to be fucked up, beaten like a dog, gunned down in a blaze of two-gun glory that'll leave all those pretenders attending to their wounds, nervous, licking the walls and lighting cigarettes the wrong way. I need to stop writing meaningless poetry that fits into every other meaningless facet of failure I fit. I need to live, to forgive. I need to be rebuilt, to sustain love in my heart, and I need to forget about you.
Woo! No chunkless flying, so it's all
No
good.
chunkless. No chunkless.
All right, everyone. So back the Cryptidnals. Follow Oliver on Twitter. Follow Ray on Twitter. Follow the 656 guys on Twitter. Hit the like button for the interviews. And I'll see you guys next time here on Death Curse.